Hello everyone, how are you doing? Hoping that all of you are well and taking care of yourself. Myself Vineet Khatri, and as you must have seen the title and the thumbnail, today we will be discussing all about BITSAT 2025, the master strategy to score, more than 300. If you can, if you follow all the principles and if you prepare well, if your base is right, yes, you can do it, because our prime purpose is to get admission in the BITS Pilani, the main campus and the top branches, right? So if you want that, make sure you hit the like button right now, because your all the queries will be resolved in this particular session, right? There are many queries in our mind, right? How to manage English proficiency and logical reasoning. What is the prime difference between BITSAT examination and the JEE exam? What is the difference between the syllabus in both the examination? And should I prepare exclusively for BITSAT exam, or should I prepare it, along with the JEE? All the queries will be answered, okay? So again, I'm telling you, make sure you hit the like button right now for the best performance in BITSAT 2025, okay? So the video about BITSAT, the eligibility criteria, the cutoff, the video is already made on the channel. So make sure you see that channel, that video, so that you get all the details regarding the application forms, the attempts and everything, right? So in this video, we'll be talking about the strategies, English proficiency, logical reasoning, and one of our educators for English proficiency and logical reasoning, after, my part, that part will come, English proficiency and logical reasoning. So that will be told. All the strategy regarding English proficiency and logical reasoning will also be specifically covered in this particular video. So make sure you wait for that. Along with that, I will also be telling you about one master resource, which will enable your preparation for BITSAT 2025 and help you to get the BITS Pilani main campus, okay? So I'll tell you about that in the, during the end of my part, okay? So let us start with the first question first, right? The main important question, that what is the primary difference between the, BITSAT and JEE? There are two fundamental differences. The first key difference is in JEE Main, we have 75 questions in totality, if you can say, and the maximum score is 300. In BITSAT exam, you have total of 130 questions in the same duration. The exam is of same duration. Both have 3 hours. And the maximum score in BITSAT is 390. And if you include bonus question as well, you can score, theoretically you can score more as well. So you can see very clearly that BITSAT exam has much more number of questions. It means the level of difficulty of BITSAT is significantly less as compared to JEE Main, right? It is less. In some shifts, it is at par with JEE Main, but normally, generally, it is less as compared to JEE Main, right? Apart from that, the biggest difference between BITSAT and JEE Main syllabus is English proficiency and the logical reasoning. You get 30 questions out of 130 questions in BITSAT exam for English proficiency and logical reasoning, right? So to ensure the selection and the good rank, you need to cover English proficiency and logical reasoning properly, and you need to practice a lot, right? Other fundamental difference is, as you can see, the more questions are there, so the major focus should be on the speed and accuracy. So we'll be discussing all about that, how to strategize because of the different approaches of the examination, right? So let's move forward and let us see one by one. Firstly, let us see the right approach, right? As you must have seen the difference. There's one more question in the students. The key question is whether we can prepare for BITSAT exclusively. Yes, you can do so if you find the JEE really difficult, right? And if you're from a convent school where your English proficiency, logical reasoning is fine, then you have a very big advantage for BITSAT. Then alone you can, prepare for BITSAT exclusively, right? Otherwise, you have to balance both the JEE Main as well as BITSAT preparation. Now, the next question arises that how many hours I need to put in when I prepare for BITSAT along with JEE Main. You need to spend at least, around 6 hours per week for BITSAT preparation if you're preparing for BITSAT along with, JEE Main, right? Obviously, if you're preparing for only for BITSAT 2025, then you can spend a lot more time, okay? So keep that in mind, right? Now, let us see the right approach. What is the right approach while preparing for BITSAT? Firstly, you have to see the BITSAT, the level of the question is not very high, not deep conceptual part is there. Primarily direct questions, formula-based questions, and direct questions from the theory come, and the formula-based questions are there. Many of the formula-based questions are there. So you have to cover the complete syllabus. In the JEE, primarily what we do is, we do the selective chapters, or we can, eliminate some part because some questions are quite difficult in JEE. But in BITSAT, you have to complete the whole syllabus, right? That is the very big difference, because you have to complete everything. So exhaustively, prepare exhaustively for BITSAT, cover everything, right? So no selective preparation, cover all, right? Even at surface level, you can cover at surface level. You don't have to dig deep That is the key difference. Now, once you've understood the basic concepts, the basic application, the basic formulas, primarily now you have to practice. Practice will make you king, right? And now in the practice, you have to focus on the time bound chapter wise practice regularly, so that you will have the habit of selecting the easiest question first, then approaching the difficult questions later on, right? Apart from that, you have to give lots and lots of mocks. So we'll be discussing about the practice part as well. Apart from that, there are some BITSAT specific topics. 98% of the syllabus of JEE Main and BITSAT is same, but few particular topics are different in the case of BITSAT, right? So you have to cover those BITSAT specific topics. And apart from that, now let me tell you about each part in detail. Along with that, there is one more thing, that is a master resource which can help you with all of these things, which I will be telling you at the end of my particular part. Now let us move forward and let us see that what is this practice game. In the practice game, how you have to see so that you can maximize your score. As you can see, the more questions are coming. When the more questions are coming, you have to do time-bound practice almost every single day if it is possible, right? The more time-bound practice you do, more habitual you are, to do, the questions in the limited time, how to select the easiest question first, how to, attempt the difficult question later on. That is like very, very important. Along with that, as soon as possible, whenever you can, because most of the people join the mock test series later on during their preparation. But if you do so from now, you can start giving the mock test, and that will save you a lot of time, and you can, improve your paper attempting strategy for BITSAT 2025. And apart from that, you can, improve your speed, you can improve your accuracy, you can analyze them. So that is the key. Doing a lots and lots of time-bound practice along with giving many, many mock tests, analyzing them and improving your, speed and accuracy. And these things will bring a major change. It can increase your BITSAT score by, you can say, 20% as well, right? So you can have an advantage of 40 to 50 marks with all this. And 40 to 50 marks will bring a, a big change in your branch and the campus as well. Apart from that, the key resources are obviously for BITSAT, there are memory-based PYQs which are available, right? Primarily memory-based, and that is the most authentic resource available. Apart from that, those questions, you can solve neat PYQs, which are normally, some are of the level of BITSAT, some are at lower level, but that is a good resource for BITSAT, questions. Apart from that, JEE Main PYQs are generally at slightly higher level, but that is also a good resource for, BITSAT preparation as well. Now the point is, overall you have to improve your speed and accuracy. So for improving your speed and accuracy, firstly let's look at the speed. For improving your speed, you have to look for tricks and shortcuts specially, right? You have to understand all the key points on the tips, right? For example, you should be able to recall all the formula that must be on your fingertips, right? So to revise regularly. And there are methods of revision like writing down the key points. That's a very good way. I used to write all the key points and then memorize them. I used to have that mind mapping, mental revision. So along with writing the key points and mental revision will make you, very strong in recalling all the key formulas, key points, and making the short notes, right? So with that way, you can recall all the formulas, all the key points when the exam is there. Now, you have to use various tricks and shortcuts. As you know, in the JEE Main, tricks and shortcuts are not that meaningful, but in BITSAT they are, right? So for example, for organic chemistry and for various part, there are various shortcuts to identify optical isomerism, chirality. Similarly, in physics, there are shortcuts. In mathematics, there are shortcuts. So you have to focus on them, right? You have to think more and more about how to solve these questions, right? And again, in the master resource, we will be covering all these things. There are those hacks, those tricks to improve your problem solving speed, right? Now, for the speed and accuracy, you have to focus on improving both. So for improving the accuracy, you have to analyze your silly mistakes, right? You have to identify what type of mistakes you do. For example, for improving accuracy, you need to see that whether you are reading the question right, whether your comprehending ability is right, whether you are making a conceptual error or what type of error you are doing. So you have to analyze that properly, right? With that analysis, you will get some takeaways, and when you apply those takeaways in the next mock test or next practice, you will keep on improving your accuracy as well, right? So both are strongly interrelated, and obviously you need to understand the concepts well so that your accuracy is higher. But most of the inaccuracy is the result of wrong question selection or the silly mistakes where your presence of mind is not there. When the presence of mind is not there, then you are not able to solve the questions properly and many mistakes are made, right? So you can improve your score 20, 30, 40 marks in BITSAT just by improving your accuracy and the speed. So just imagine doing all these things, you can improve your score much, right, if you focus properly. Now, let me tell you about some best resources for the BITSAT, right? Initially, I'll be telling you about the almost free resources, okay? But then I'll be telling you about the master resource, which is a paid resource, okay? Firstly, you have to focus on the NCERT based practice books. There are many NCERT based practice books which are primarily for NEET, but you can take them, right? That is a very good way, especially for physics and chemistry, that you solve them. Apart from that, those NCERT line by line type books, what you can do is you can use NCERT Exemplar. NCERT Exemplar also has many NCERT based questions, okay? Now, many NCERT line-to-line questions. Apart from that, memory-based PYQs, as I have told you, BITSAT memory-based PYQs. Apart from BITSAT memory-based PYQs, you have to do NEET PYQs, and JEE Main PYQs is also a good resource for practice, okay? So now you have the very big pool, you can see, right? And that is the most relevant key, okay? You can use for the BITSAT. These are the major resources for practice. And for theory part, NCERT books, especially for physics and chemistry, right? You have to cover them line by line, as I've told. So that's why you can do those NCERT books for physics and chemistry, along with these practice-based books. So practice is a very good way to cover those theory. Otherwise, theory can be like highly cumbersome for all of you. And as I've told you already, for English proficiency and logical reasoning, our expert educator will be taking the session very, very soon after this part, right? That is covered. So hoping that you all are excited for him, and make sure to hit the like button for him as well, right? Now, I know that most of you are now excited that what is that master resource which will help you in getting the BITS Pilani campus and the good branch and improve your score so that you can take advantage, right now, because now we have time, but after the JEE, April, we won't have much time, right? So now let me tell you about the main resource, the master resource, which we have brought for you. So guys, here is the master resource. The key resource, you can see the name is Pilani Crash Course. The name itself signifies that we are planning primarily to take limited number of students in this particular course, where our aim is you get into Pilani and with the best branch possible. Now, how we will make it possible? Let me tell you. Firstly, English proficiency and logical reasoning will be covered in detail. You will have the theory lectures along with the problem solving lectures, right? So now in the next session, when the educator will be, telling you about English proficiency, logical reasoning, you will be able to understand that what quality of faculty you will be getting in this particular course. Along with that, for PCM, you will be given, for physics, chemistry, mathematics, you will be given 5,000 plus questions which will be solved in the class itself. Just imagine, in which PYQs will also be covered, but these are the hot questions which will be covered to improve your problem solving skills. And also tricks, shortcuts, hacks will be covered. You will be given study material and the question banks for your study at your home as well. Apart from that, you will be given the amazing 24/7 doubt solving facility. So you can ask any doubts from anywhere regarding BITSAT, anything, right? So that facility will be given. Apart from that, you will be given live application classes. Live application classes. What is the live application classes? In these classes, primary focus is to improve your problem solving approach so that you can minimize your mistakes and solve the questions with the high accuracy and the speed, right? So shortcuts will also be given from the educators in these particular sessions. Along with that, you will be given access to the concept videos, because many of the students are weak in theory and they have various misconceptions in the theory. So we have 1,000 plus concept videos of each subject of physics, chemistry, mathematics, where what you can do is primarily, if you have, for example, you are confused about optical isomerism, or you are confused about wave optics, so you can study the specific part so that you don't need to study the long 1 hour or 1 hour 30 minutes lecture, right? So that way, this is the master resource we have customized for you. Now, you must be asking what is the fee and how to enroll. Simply, the link of the website is given in the description and the pinned comment. From there, you can visit our website and enroll in this course as soon as possible. All the details, fee, everything is given over here. Okay. So now, hoping that you all are excited for the next part of this particular master session, in which English proficiency and logical reasoning strategy will be covered by our expert educator. So make sure you hit the like button for our expert educator. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. Today I'll be discussing the BITSAT syllabus and the entire strategy for two sections, English proficiency and logical reasoning. So the English proficiency, as the name suggests, it tests your English language skills through various kind of questions, but majorly focusing on the aspects like basic grammar, vocabulary, the ability to read and comprehend, also to apply the elements of effective writing. When I say comprehend, what does that mean? Like reading can be mindless, just read out things out, you don't kind of read anything. That is mindless reading. Comprehension, on the other hand, it means that whatever you read, it gets stored in your mind. It happens, and how to achieve that? Just by doing some active sort of reading. When I say active reading, it means you visualize things that you have read. And how to do that? We'll tell that in detail in the real classes. But before that, let us look at what all aspects are being tested in the English language skills. First is grammar. Grammar, the basic grammar, for example, the subject-verb agreement, the sense of time and tense in a statement, parallel construction, the relative pronouns, determiners, prepositions, active passive voice, question tags, phrasal verbs, things like that. And the questions can be asked in different ways. I'll just give you an example. If I ask you, he works continuously and wholeheartedly. Okay, that's a complete sentence. Cool. Now, I write one more sentence. He works continuously and in a wholehearted manner. We have two sentences. Both look correct. Tell me in the comments if both are correct, none is correct, only one is correct, and which one is the correct. Let's see how many of you get that. Then, coming to the next aspect, that is vocabulary. So, as you see here, the synonyms, the antonyms, odd ones, one word, all those things are asked, but they won't ask you what's the synonym of this word. No. They can ask you which of the following words is most likely similar to the word given in the question. So, all the options can look correct to you. Only one would be most similar, right? So, that is how they'll ask you the questions. One word for a group of words. For example, if I ask you, what is a group of lions called? Tell me in the comments. Or if I ask you, what is a group of fish called? Can you tell me the example in the comments? Let's see how many of you get that correct. Jumbled letters. So letters can be the anagrams. Letters can be rearranged, and then they ask you that what will be the most correct word. Homophones, the words which sound similar. For example, accept and accept. They'll also ask you errors in spelling. So they sound similar. Do you have some more examples? If yes, then tell me in the comments. Contextual meaning. So one word can have different meanings depending on the context they are used in. So that is how they can ask the questions. Analogy. Analogy is like, okay, I'll give you an example. If I say scientist is analogous to science, then psychiatrist would be analogous to what? Tell me in the comments. You have so much to comment upon. Well, now the next is reading comprehension. So here you will get an unseen passage, the passage that you haven't seen before. It can be from some article of a magazine. It can be an essay from some online portal. It can be an editorial from some newspaper. It can be an excerpt of a book. So based on that passage, there will be questions given to you which will be majorly focusing on the key ideas or the main ideas, supporting ideas, vocabulary, reference, the idioms and phrases that have been used there, or reconstruction like rewording, rephrasing the entire sentence. They can ask you in that way. Then comes the composition of a paragraph. Rearrangement, paragraph unity, linkers, connectives. Questions can be asked, I'll tell you. This is the example. So here, if you see there are 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences, rearrange the following sentences to make a paragraph, then answer which sentences should come first in the paragraph. Tell me your answers in the comments. One more example of a reading comprehension passage. Here we have a passage and then there is a question. Which of the following is inferable? What can be concluded based on the information given in the passage? So we won't be solving this in this video, but I wanted you to understand that how the questions are asked in English language skills. Let's try and understand the next section, that is logical reasoning in BITSAT. So logical reasoning, as the name suggests, it tests people's logic and how they reason out. So a candidate who is able to think logically, perceive the data accurately, understand the relationships correctly, or figure out the missing numbers or words and apply rules to new and different contexts will be able to score well. So this is the outline of the entire section and how the questions are asked based on what all topics. Let's try to understand that. First is analogy. So analogy is very much similar to what I told you in the English language skills. It means correspondence. Based on analogy, particular relationship is given, other similar has to be identified from the alternatives provided. Classification. So it is like assorting the items of given group on the basis of certain commonalities, and the one item that is odd one out, that is not similar to other items, will be the odd one out. Let's understand this by an example. If I ask you, whale, I have whale here, then I have, let's say, shark. Whale, shark. Let's have something like mackerel. Then I have, let's say, salmon. Which one do you find or feel is the odd one out? Tell me in the comments. Now, series completion. So if I give you a series like 1, 3, 7, 13, what should be the next one? The basic series, I hope you must have identified that by now. Here I see the gaps. The gap is 2. Here the gap is 4. Here the gap is 6. Okay, 2, 4, 6. Gap is increasing by 2 units. This must be 6 plus 2, 8 units. 13 plus 8 is 21. That is the answer in this. If I ask you one more, tell me in the comments what should be the correct answer. 2, 3, 5, 7, 13. Next one. What should it be? Okay, now coming to the logical deduction. A passage will be given to you, and based on the passage, you need to find the most obvious or plausible answer. So, for example, if I say, I pushed someone, he will either fall or step back. That's logical deduction, isn't it? But that is not they're going to ask you. They'll be asking you certain question which is more complex, but not that complex that you cannot answer. You just have to keep your mind and eyes open. Now, coming to the next one, that is chart logic. A chart or table will be given to you that is partially filled, not completely filled. And now they will ask you to fill the table with the given statements. For example, if I say Virat Kohli, his average was, let's say, 45 runs in a match. Out of the last 5 matches, I have some data. In the first match, he scored 45 runs. Second, he scored 50 runs. Then he scored 2 runs. In one, he scored, let's say, 13 runs. What should be his score in the 5th match? The average is 45. All right. So that is what you need to find out. Moreover, this question can also be asked in a different way. Let's say he scored 20 in some match, then 35 in another match, then X runs in one match, Y in some other match, and 45 in some other match. What should be the value of X plus Y? Different ways, but the ideal information or the idea is same. That is, you need to fill in the missing data. Now, the next is pattern perception. A pattern is given to you, and generally quarter is left blank. So let's say this is I have 4 grids here. Here I have, I'll just use another color, an arc like this, then an arc like this, then an arc like this, what should be coming over here? And you will be given option choices like this. Tell me which one is the right option according to you. Give me 4 options. One, two, three, four. Tell me which one is correct. Okay, that is how pattern perception is done. Figure formation and analysis. It involves the analysis of a pattern that is formed when a folded piece of paper is cut into a definite design. If you have heard about origami, tell me yes, you know about this. Origami is the Chinese practice of, Japanese or Chinese, I don't remember, practice of folding papers and making some shapes. So if you have done this in your childhood, you took a paper, a square paper, let's say, and then you fold it along this dotted line. Fold it, it becomes a rectangle now. Then fold it again along this. Now it looks like a square from the cross section. And then you cut it along this line. So this will look like this. Now if you open it, what figure will be in front of you? Can you imagine that? If yes, tell me yes, imagined. Well, then comes figure matrix. More than one set of figures is given in the form of matrix, all of them following the same rule. Candidate is required to follow the rule and identify the missing figure. I'll give an example here. Rule deduction. One rule is given to you and required to select from the given sets of figures or set of figures that obeys this rule and forms the correct series. They all are almost same. All these things just test your observation, your visualization, isn't it? But they can ask you in different formats. Let us look at a few examples. In a certain code language, animals is written as Slamina. So how is online written in that code? Your 5 options, tell me which one is the correct one. Then comes, oh, look at this. We have 5 figures, third is missing. Which one from these options should be the correct one? Tell me in the comment box. By now, you must have realized that logical reasoning section of BITSAT is very, I would say, a very fun, a very cool section, isn't it? It's like enjoyable. So your physics, chemistry, mathematics, all those concrete sciences. And here we have 2 things which are so cool and so, enjoyable and so much interesting. That is the logical reasoning section and the English comprehension. And to understand all of it, will obviously coming live in addition to the dashboard assignments that we provide to you, or the mock test, or all those live lectures and downloadable PDFs. Will also provide something that is not quantifiable. The skill to observe, skill to identify, skill to comprehend, skill to visualize, and the skill to score the best in the upcoming BITSAT exam. Thank you.